Hey guys, this is Chris from Carolot Miniature Horses. So glad you're with us today. I wanted to take a moment and tell you a little bit about what we're doing here on the farm and how we came about. So I am a 4-H leader here in Fluvanna County. This is my second stint as a 4-H leader. I was a leader back when our daughters were younger. Now they're in college, they've graduated college. So I am just re-entering the 4-H world, and I've got the pleasure to be co-leading a club here with a good friend of mine. Having a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. So what I have really come to realize over the last couple of years that my family and I have been out of the horse world, I have come to realize that things have become much more expensive. Horse care has always been expensive. Riding, showing, lessons, that's not a surprise. But what did surprise me after re-entering the 4-H world and the horse world is just how much things have increased. From the cost of hay and grain to the cost of lessons. Fuel, of course, is more expensive. It makes sense, right? Everything is increasing. But the rate at which it increased over just a few short years was very surprising to me. And so what I have really been inspired to want to do is to try and create a horsemanship program that is accessible and affordable to children and adults of all ages, abilities, levels, interests, really. And the miniature horse seemed to me to be a really great starting point for that. You know, minis are smaller. We can keep them more easily on a smaller footprint of land. They do, generally speaking, eat a little less, but a lot of their other healthcare expenses are the same. So it wasn't entirely about them costing less to care for, because that really isn't entirely true. But they are smaller, they are less intimidating for some people, and they're very, very versatile. Something that I don't think everyone is as aware of. Miniature horses, they can be used for so many different things. You know, the children in 4-H, at least, they show them in showmanship classes, trail and hand classes, jumping and hand classes. They can do obstacle courses with them, as well as driving. And those are just a few things. I'm sure there are more things out there as well. But the miniature horse, like I said, is a very versatile horse. They have a lot to offer. And I have been inspired by watching them at the State 4-H Horse and Pony Show over the last few years. And that got me thinking, you know, what could I do? And that really led me to adopting my first 3 minis with this hope of really sharing them and helping to bring about equestrian opportunities in a more accessible fashion. So that's kind of our mission, is to really try to share these wonderful and incredible animals with as many people as we can. And we're excited about what the future has in store for us. And we are preparing today to bring home another mini tomorrow who has been very graciously loaned to us with the hope of supporting our program. So tomorrow we're going to bring home mini number 4, very exciting. And my job today is to go out and to get everything as clean as possible. I want to scrub the water troughs, refill them, because we will want to slowly introduce him to our current 3. And I just want to make sure that everything is set up. Should we need to keep everyone separated for longer periods of time, we just want to be as prepared as possible. So we will keep you posted on how our newest addition settles in, and we look forward to sharing more about him in the coming days. So stay tuned. And now I need to get ready to head outside and do all sorts of cleaning and prepping and such. So talk to you later. Bye, guys. So this is an example of why we double lock our tack room door here. It's tack room / little feed room. As you can see, the padlock that I had on the door yesterday is now on the ground. I can almost guarantee you that it was our dear friend Shenanigans, who likes to play with all sorts of things. So we do double latch our door here. I have a different type of latch hook on my back hay barn. I'll show you that. I probably need to go ahead and do something very similar to that on our little tack room. But you can see here, there's just no way that he's going to be able to nibble and maneuver this off. So I will be looking for another really sturdy carabiner that I can put on the tack room. So yeah, our dear friend Shenanigans, who is out in the field, there he is. He's always up to something, so never a dull moment. So it is early March here on the farm, and as many owners, something we are keeping a close eye on is the grass. And you look out in the field and you think, oh gosh, you know, it's just brown, there's nothing out there. A lot of the grass is just dormant for the winter. And if I zoom in here for you, you can see that there is a little bit of spring grass beginning to pop. And again, it's the first year that we have had minis here on the farm. And so we're gonna have to just keep a very close eye on the grass and the ponies to make sure that no one starts to show any signs of being tender-footed. That could be indicative of getting too much of the sugars from the spring grass. So I just wanted to give you a little close-up of that because it looks like there's nothing out here, but we do still want to be really careful and extra mindful as we head into spring. The turnout here has had a little chance to dry after that heavy rain a few days back. And so I'm just letting the minis back out here. They do enjoy coming out here, nibbling a little. Sometimes the boys get to running and playing, and was hoping to catch some of that. Maybe I'll show you some previous footage. They can be pretty silly sometimes. Heads down though. Heads down, happy horses. So I know I have talked a lot today about spring grass and being extra careful and keeping a close eye on your horses, especially smaller horses, you know, ponies and minis. It's just something that for me is probably one of my biggest concerns about being new to miniature horse ownership. It's something that I feel I hear a lot more people talk about overfeeding versus underfeeding, right? It's just so easy because a miniature horse, they weigh 250 to 300 pounds, and that's a sizable mini, whereas a full-size horse is going to typically be 1,100 to 1,200 pounds, and it is just so easy to inadvertently, with the best of intentions, overfeed your horse. And because I don't know my minis all that well yet, I'm getting to know them. I'm getting to know what their metabolic needs are. You know, how well do they do on the extra sugars in the spring and the fall grass. But right now we're heading into spring, so that is what I'm really kind of harping on and mindful of. But it's just something that I think everyone who owns minis or is considering owning a mini should be extra careful about, and something that you really should take seriously. Even if your miniature horse is in a small little paddock somewhere, the amount of grass and the sugar intake that they are getting is something that we should all be taking very seriously and be keeping a really close eye on. Laminitis, you know, when their feet become sensitive, can lead to founder, which can be kind of a life-crippling event for some horses. It's not something to mess around with. So forgive me if I keep talking about it, but it is something that I want to make sure that those of you who are watching this and who are embarking upon a similar journey or considering it are just really aware of these things, because they're small things, but they can make a really big impact on your horse and their state of life and well-being. So what we want is to have healthy, happy horses who can comfortably live out a nice long life. So that's our goal here, and we will continue to be mindful and watchful, and we'll keep you posted as we learn more about our horses and their individual needs. So next on my to-do list today, after feeding and picking, is to scrub our water tubs. We have 2 red water tubs, and we also have a short gray Rubbermaid trough. When we had full-size horses, we had the big, tall 100 gallons, just too big for the mini. So we did purchase one of the real short, I think they're 50 gallons. So I have that trough to scrub. I have our 2 red tubs to scrub, and we want to get everything cleaned because we have a new friend coming tomorrow, and then we'll fill everything up and we'll be all set. So that's next on the to-do list. Hey Frankers, be careful. Don't fall in there. I just scrubbed out the tub. It is super, super cold right now. Our temperatures were a little below freezing last night, so the water is still ice cold. But Frankie here seems to think that he wants to play with the water, so hopefully he doesn't fall in. I just finished scrubbing our 2 red tubs, and it reminded me that I wanted to mention to you that these red tubs that we have here, they were, I believe, Purina livestock, like salt mineral tubs. We had a friend of the family who had a whole big stack of them, and we got a few from him a couple of years ago, and they have just been the best tubs. They're good for muck tubs, they're good for water tubs, they're really, really sturdy. So if you're looking for something to hold water for your mini, you might consider a really sturdy tub like we did. Back when we had our big horses, we used the traditional 100-gallon gray Rubbermaid troughs, but those were really too big for the minis. If the water wasn't completely filled to the brim, they wouldn't be able to reach it. So even before we brought the minis home, we knew that we were going to have to make a modification there. And so we thought about these red tubs, and they've been perfect. We even found a trough de-icer. It's a little red, can't think of the brand. I'll have to look that up, but it was a great little de-icer. It wasn't too hot for the trough because they are, plastic. They're not as heavy duty as the gray Rubbermaid, but they held up really well in the winter. The de-icer did great. It kept the water just warm enough so it didn't freeze, but again, it never melted the tubs. And because we have Shenanigans, who is a bit of a rascal sometimes, we wanted to make sure that we had a de-icer that not only had a cage around the heating element, we didn't want him to touch that, nor any of the horses, but we were most concerned about him. And we also wanted to make sure that it was submersible, so it was at the bottom of the tub, and a cord like protector. I was a little concerned that he might try to chew on the cord. So we found the perfect de-icer, and I'll share that with you in kind of another video because highly recommended. It was fantastic. We previously had always had the metal ones that actually kind of are submersed in the large tank, and we knew that we weren't going to use those with our little plastic tubs. So yeah, this little red de-icer was perfect. Hey guys, so one of the last things on my to-do list today was to find a couple of halters to take tomorrow, and I wanted to show you these 2 halters that I have. This black one here, if I can show you, it is a Hillside brand halter. Not a brand I was familiar with before I got the minis. Sweetheart actually came with this halter. I'm a big fan. It fits really, really well, and if I had to guess, I'd say it's a mini large. She is certainly the largest mini we have, and it fits her very comfortably. The pink one here, this is an Ozark brand halter. I'm pretty sure you can pick these up from State Line Tack. This is a small, and it fits Shenanigans. He certainly has a smaller, more petite head. you know, both of these halters work well, they get the job done. So I will take them both tomorrow because, you know, it's a nice variety in size. Not exactly sure how large our new friend is. When I saw him a while back, if I had to guess, I'd say he's closer in size to Sweetheart. So my money is on the black one, but I want to take two just to be safe. So I'm going to go stick these in the truck and we'll be ready for tomorrow. So I've just finished up with the minis. I gave everyone a little brush out in the field today. It's kind of been a busy day, so I'm wrapping things up with the minis. I've got a lesson to go and teach this afternoon. And again, tomorrow's the big day, so I think we're ready. Everyone seems pretty settled and content for the afternoon. So I'm off now to get some lunch, and these guys are doing the same.